I'm Gavin, and I played Kurt in An Unexpected Hiccup.
I'm Nikki. I played Tiff in An Unexpected Hiccup.
And hi, my name's Emma, and I played Thelma in An Unexpected Hiccup, the favourite of the siblings. The first thing we're going to talk about is obviously going into finding out that you were part of a show after, what was it, a long year of basically being stuck indoors doing workshops on Zoom. How did you find out that you were going to be part of the workshop and eventually the show itself?
It was incredibly exciting to be part of it because there was initially there was workshops around about January of this year, but that was with everybody. And they gave us like a basic outline of what they wanted the show to be. Actually, to be told that we're part of the show, I didn't actually think I was going to be able to do it because I have transport kind of issues, and then usually someone from the Lungha support team, when it came to rehearsals, would accompany me in the taxi. But obviously, because of COVID, I knew that wasn't going to be allowed. So I did think that for that reason I might not be allowed to do it, but to actually get the opportunity to do it, and given the fact that that was going to be the first live performance in, as you say, a year, for me it was really, really exciting.
Same here. It was actually really exciting to know that we'd be able to actually do a performance project. And the fact of actually getting to do it in person, that was really, really, really exciting to do. You know, just to kind of feel that in a way we could actually, just to know that actually we could actually get a live performance up and running, even just of a small scale thing.
Oh.
And if the worst came to the worst, it could have always been done on Zoom.
I was cautiously optimistic about the whole thing because, I don't know, in the whole year I had about 3 people that I knew had COVID and died. So part of it was the paranoia of kind of like COVID was like this big monster that was about to like come up like a shark at some point. That's how I imagined it. But I was also like optimistic to be basically doing it again without Zoom and without being in my room, because being in my room is not necessarily my workspace. My room is my private bit, so it was quite nice to be, you know, doing it with people again and not just a screen.
I found the rehearsal space not as challenging as I thought it was going to be. The challenges kind of came from the COVID restrictions that were in the room. So for example, everybody had their own kind of named chair. Apart from me, because I'm a wheelchair user, so I've got my own chair anyway. But everybody had their own kind of chair. Anyway, we all had our own kind of water bottles and hand sanitizers. And I suppose, well, the challenge for me, certainly the first week, was not using the hand sanitizer every 5 minutes. I think if you were to ask anybody involved with the production, they probably would say that I did use it way too much, more than anybody else.
Probably so.
But also, yeah, exactly, Nikki. But also having to go in every day and have your temperature checked, and the fact that we weren't allowed in to the room until they'd cleaned everything, that was challenging, especially on cold days. After a while, you know, that on top of the restrictions just kind of, for me, it kind of fell into place. And you adhered to the restrictions without realising it. You went in and had your temperature checked, so it just kind of became this new kind of routine. And for me, it kind of felt that we'd never really been away after that first week.
What was quite nice was when we did run-throughs, it was okay to have the masks off. So that was actually quite nice to do. But every other time it was masks on and everything like that. But then considering we got the show on the actual stage, I would really say that was definitely worth it.
How can I describe Kurt? He is very pretentious, thinks he owns the place, and actually thinks he's better than everybody else just because he's been to university. But he actually, what he doesn't realise is that he's actually not as smart as he thinks he is. He is a dressmaker by trade. Judging by some of the decor that you saw in the house, if you saw the show, I don't think he's as good as he thinks he is. Because he always manages to come up with these bizarre dresses and designs, these really wacky designs. But yeah, Kurt in a nutshell is basically, in 3 words, pretentious, arrogant, and probably very, very rude, and can dish it out but can't take it.
Well, in the play, my character, Tess, she kind of sees herself as a bit of a modern day Cinderella kind of thing, because actually her siblings to her are actually step siblings. So she quite literally describes herself as being oldest sibling, daughter of a father who married again, stepsisters, big old house to clean, and just no sign of a fairy godmother. Although I must admit, Tess doing cleaning, I do wonder how much of that she probably does, considering that Robert runs mostly about the whole show like a blue-assed fly, cleaning everything, including doorknobs and chairs. But I think Tess is probably the most dominant out of the siblings. She definitely, I can say that she definitely tries to take charge, although with Kurt, she can find that a bit hard, but I think there's a bit of a power struggle going on between the two of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But in fairness, I do think that Tess manages to hold that top spot.
Just the
so
thing.
I tried Kurt, but you're not getting the power that easily.
Yeah.
I sit on this throne.
We're not doing the play anymore, Nikki.
Yeah, but let's face it, if we come back and do it in a tour, I'm going to be living it up.
Thelma is a self-aware compulsive liar with a crippling ice cream addiction. It is probably the best way to describe her, unless you guys had anything to throw at me. She's basically the middle kid of the family. So she's in between Tez and Kurt and Colin and Louisa, who Keith and Emma played. She's kind of she likes to lie a lot just for the hell of it, basically. She finds some sort of humour of it. And when Myrtle comes, it's like, fresh prey, almost. So she teases him about the other family. She'll just bend the truth or even outright lie. Her family's kind of immune to it at this point because they've grown up with it, so they know what she's like. But on the one hand, she is helpful to Myrtle, but on the other hand, she just wants to play, have some fun with him. I actually don't have a favourite scene or line. I think my mum's favourite scene was the one where I went like this, just to terrify Myrtle, and that was partly improvised, partly on script. I don't know, maybe my favourite line was, "You're making me wet just standing there," because it's the first time we hear just how self-aware and sarcastic she can be, compared to everyone being, all nice and that. She's like, nope. Because they're not here, obviously, we can't have Keith and Emma explaining about their characters. We could talk about the characters without them, but I think it would be much better if we talked about our favourite moments with Keith and Emma, or their favourite, or maybe our favourite lines involving their characters, because I don't think it would be fair to not include them, even though they're not here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One of my favourite moments that Keith had was actually towards the end during the welcome song. I used to love when Keith went to do his expert on drag bit, because he always used to do this really great walk. And back to the starting position, and I used to love watching it, and you could really see that Keith really enjoyed it. And I think when Keith was enjoying it, we were all enjoying, like, swaying with it. We were all kind of able to let ourselves loose. And with Emma, I used to really love listening to Break, 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 which was the duet that she had with Tim, who played Myrtle. I just really, really loved that song. It was just a really lovely scene to listen to.
I think for me, backstage, it was quite humbling in a way, because Keith was very surprised that he got cast at all. If you remember, we had this conversation with Keith, and I know he'll be okay with us telling it. Keith had wanted to do a tour for a long time. He'd been in London for about 9 or 8 years, just above me, but he was still very surprised he got cast. And I think he got very emotional the very first night, and for me,
he did, bless him.
Yeah, but for me it was the basis of why London exists in a way, because how many companies would give Keith a chance? He was shocked that he was given a chance at all, and I felt that was so this is why we do this, really, in a way. So for us, obviously, it's kind of like almost we have that privilege of doing it now that we don't even think about. So wait, do you know what I mean? This sort of thing could be taken away from us. But for Keith, it was, this will never happen to me. Oh wait, it did happen, and he worked extremely hard. They both did, Keith and Emma.
Yeah.
But it was very nice. It was very nice to see Keith, like, a nervous wreck first week, and by the last week he pretty much knew all his lines. He was confident that he was gonna go out there and give his best showing. And I think
he just enjoyed it.
Yeah.
He just enjoyed it, and he just loved it all the time. And to be honest with you, I can't choose an absolute. Well, I can't choose one of the best moments, for Keith, because actually every single day in rehearsals and every single performance, just the look of sheer enjoyment and just the look of, just the look of Keith's lovely smile, it was, I think the best thing that I saw for Keith was just the fact that he was just living the dream. He was just living an absolute dream come true.
Yeah. And seeing as it was Emma's first tour as well, I was pretty proud of them, because I know it must have been really difficult for them. We've gone through it at least, for Gavin and me at least, we've done it at least once or twice. So
I've
we're
done
kind
it
of,
about 4. I've done it about 3, 4, no, like 5 times. Right. Like 3 internationally, 2 tours around Scotland.
I just think the music brought another layer to the show. And it was great to see it all come together in the end.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, the music that we had for the show, it was just the perfect, it was just the most perfect score for the show, and that, you know, it was just it was just wonderfully done.
did you ever get to speak to the audience, or in fact, what did your family members think of the show? In my case, my mum went into the show knowing it was a farce, but she said to me afterwards, "You didn't tell me how scary it was." My brother really liked the fact it was kind of a horror/comedy play, and both of them said it was probably one of the best shows they've seen from Longha.
I think for my dad and everybody that I knew that came to see it, they all said it was very, very funny. And they really liked that. They thought that we all kind of worked really well together, and blended really well together, and brought our kind of own skills to the shows. And it was also great for them to be back in a theatre and actually seeing a live performance for the first time in 19 months was great for them as well.
Personally, for me, I was apprehensive about doing it at all, but I'm glad I did it. I think after 2 years of theatre out, I was losing my mind a wee bit afterwards. And even though we did some stuff over Zoom, it just didn't feel the same in a way. So I'm glad I did it. I was happy to do something different, because farce is not something that's seen in theatre much anymore.
And it's so difficult, because when you do a comedy, it's about the pace and about the speed. So it's quite hard in a way to actually not act, because you need to keep with the pace all the time. That was a pretty good challenge, I think, especially for all of us, because at least that's another string to the bow.
And I think doing a farce while a pandemic's going on, actually, it helped us kind of get back into the swing of it. I think if it had been something a bit more kind of serious and emotional, I don't think it would have worked as well, to be honest. So actually doing a farce as a kind of not pre-pandemic, not post-pandemic, because it's still going on, but actually doing a farce for a first show in 19 months, I think really lifted our spirits a little bit.
So to conclude, we hope Longha does this again. We hope we're still part of the cast, and it was a very good experience for all of us, I would say. If we don't do this again, hopefully we'll be able to do Castle Lennox or another show, maybe with the full cast this time, but only when it's safe. So for all of you watching this, please stay safe and keep an eye out for any more Longha productions. Cheerio.